Good afternoon, calculator.
Greetings and salutations, Mr. 411. Another wonderful day to talk about college football, pro football, friendly wagers, get people ready for the weekend.
Yes, sir. Today is crossing the lines
Yes.
with the calculator. October 20th, the year is 2022, and we're going to cover the NCAA. So, calculator, are you ready?
I'm ready when you are, Mr. 411.
Let's do it. All right, here we go. Crossing the lines. Calculator, the NCAA. Man, there was an upset last week with Tennessee defeating Alabama. So what an exciting week! And I know we have another exciting week of football action coming up. So why not now? Let's go ahead and get it rolling.
I agree. And we're going to have a new tradition on crossing the lines. And Mr. 411, we're going to start with what are the three things Mr. 411 believes in?
Well, you said four, right? So good. Number one, and we're just gonna go ahead and put the fans first. All the
Oh
fans,
yeah, I
everybody.
gotta love the fans.
Yeah, everybody who hits the subscribe, the notification button, the likes, people who support us through and through. We definitely appreciate you and we love you. And Mr. 411 loves you.
Mhm.
Mr. 411, above all, believes in God. Do you see that, calculator?
It's beautiful.
Yes, I believe in the man upstairs. Mr. 411 also believes in Santa Claus.
Hey, you got to still believe.
Have to, calculator. And Mr. 411 believes in Dr. Sachs.
Yes, sir. Dr. Sachs in the algorithm. They
Yes.
go they go hand in hand. And this time, every now and then, Dr. Sachs, when he talks to me, Mr. 41, he says, calculator. He said, you don't need. He can provide some extra explanations or anything, but a lot of times he'll give you the numbers. But every now and then he likes to send some juicy facts our way. So when he gave me this, he said Texas A&M -3, South Carolina Gamecocks at South Carolina. Okay,
Wow.
the line is Texas A&M -3. Hey, both sides seem offensively challenged. And then people say, but calculator, South Carolina is scoring 33 points per game. And I was like, don't buy into it, folks. A lot of those points are by teams against Charlotte, a shootout against Arkansas, another beatdown by South Carolina Central State. So a lot of those numbers can look a little inflated based on their competitions. But when you look at just straight SEC games, they've only put up 61 total points over the three contests, right? And that only victory came against a Kentucky team that had to run out their backup quarterback. And if anybody saw, there was a drop off between a first round NFL type quarterback that Kentucky had on the sidelines and that backup that was in there that looked like he was totally overwhelmed. All right. Hey, we can make the same argument against A&M. We've actually bet against A&M a couple times, while we're here. Mississippi State comes to mind and everything. But hey, they're not settled on their signal caller, but Max Johnson is out with a broken hand. So following a season-ending injury to Anaya Smith, they do have this five-star freshman, Evan Stewart, emerging as a go-to receiver. Well, guess what? Another person that has stepped up his game due to Anaya Smith being out. Do people back in the day remember Muhsin Muhammad of the Carolina Panthers? Yes, sir. Muhsin Muhammad the third, his son, is a recruit, and he was looking good on limited targets against Mississippi State, so he's been coming along as well. So I like they're both receivers growing up quick and getting better by the game. But yes, on the flip side, I do. We talked about the points per game by South Carolina. Hey, I'm not a believer. Do not feel good about the offense. Quarterback Spencer Rattler, the Oklahoma transfer, there's a reason he transferred is because Oklahoma went off of him for the year. 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Yes, and the Aggies pretty much vulnerable on the ground, but the numbers are skewed by mobile quarterbacks that they face, like the KJ Jefferson from Arkansas. Okay, Marshawn Lloyd has emerged from the Gamecocks backfield, but the Aggies will be able to key on him and unleash their pass rush, which I think will force Rattler into his, plentiful interceptions that he likes to give to the other teams. Yes, I believe not only does Texas A&M win, A&M wins, they win comfortably, double digits, but I'm only having to give up a field goal. So yes, take A&M, give up the 3. Jimbo Fisher gets his guys ready to play on the road this weekend. So take the Dr. Sack special, A&M -3. I agree with everything Dr. Sacks special. Love the pick. Dr. Sacks, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And guess what, calculator? I had to take a look at the game. I watched the South Carolina State at South Carolina game. Remember, they moved that up because of the hurricanes. They moved it up to a Thursday night. And just a little small fact on South Carolina State. You remember Donnie Shell, Hall of Famer, NFL?
Yes.
From the Steelers. Mm-hmm. And also Harry Carson, Hall of Fame linebacker.
Oh, yeah.
They both attended South Carolina State, and they attended South Carolina State the same time as my parents did.
Okay.
So they actually interacted, and Harry Carson actually came to my house when I was about as tall as, they call you a little grasshopper. Now, let's put it that way. Long time ago. My dad was stationed in Fort Benning, Georgia, after he finished school there. And then, so Harry Carson actually came and visited. But the sad part is I was just too young, too small to remember. But they continued to tell me that story. So yeah, but that's that. And yes,
interesting history from Mr. 411 himself.
Yes, and South Carolina did not look impressive in that game. By the way, they did win by a lot, but they didn't look impressive. You're absolutely right about this one. Not only you, but Dr. Sacks.
And Dr. Sacks. Yeah, this one would have flown right over my radar, but Dr. Sacks' algorithm popped it out and he said, "Hey, calculator, give this to the people." And I said, "I'll be glad to, Dr. Sacks."
Absolutely. Dr. Sacks, he brings it. And we can't wait for it every week.
Every week.
All right. I wonder what's coming up next, calculator. We got another game that we need to cover. But I wonder what's about to happen now, calculator.
Yeah. Can you smell what the calculator is cooking? Yes, you can. A smelly line right off the bat. Northern Illinois Huskies. Yeah, all these off-the-wall teams, you get smelly lines, you get jackpots, and they're not going to be televised. But I'm going to pick them out for the people, right? Northern Illinois is -3, Ohio Bobcats. I saw this out. I said, Northern Illinois is terrible, man. I was looking at all their games. I said, they look terrible. And it opened up at pretty much a pick 'em. I said, Ohio at home against a terrible team. I said, I'm getting 1 point. I got him as pick 'em. I was going to pick Ohio right then and there. And then all of a sudden, before I pressed the button, guess what? That line jumped up to Northern Illinois -3. And I said, whoa, what does that do? It's like, you could say, oh, thank the Vegas guys, you're getting 3 points instead of a pick 'em. But then something paused. And then that's when I started smelling something. Mr. 411. Yes. Northern Illinois, I said they weren't, just a few weeks ago, got demolished at home by Ball State, got beat down by Toledo on the road and now they're going on the road against the Ohio team that, hey, they won their back-to-back games by 21 and 19 points respectively. So right when that line moved, I said, okay, when I look at that, I was like, everything looks for Ohio State, but when the smelly stuff comes, that's when you got to go and look a little into it. And it's like, okay, the opening day quarterback for Northern Illinois, Rocky Lombardi. What a name for a quarterback, right? Well, he actually got hurt in the third game of the season against Vanderbilt. And they were actually going score for score with Vanderbilt when he was in the game, right? Well, guess what? He didn't start last game. And I think that fooled a lot of people because everybody was predicting Eastern Michigan was going to beat Northern Illinois being as bad. I'm talking about after the first snap, Rocky Lombardi gets put in the game, and Rocky Lombardi looked like he wasn't, looked like he hadn't missed a beat, right? Okay, so when you take both teams are pretty much together. Oh, well, before that, I'm going to go to Ohio's Mirage because there's mirages on both sides. You got the quarterback coming in for Northern Ohio, right? Well, remember I talked about that 21 and that 19 points victories? They were aided by 8 turnovers on both games or combined for both games. And that's very hard to sustain week to week. So it's like, okay, and so when I look at let's take out the turnovers. You got to start from scratch. Let's take that Rocky Lombardi. I'm putting them in there. Northern Illinois is, in my opinion, 7 points better head-to-head on a neutral field. So, yeah, went up to 3, but I still feel kind of confident. So, yeah, Vegas tried to get me. Hey, take the Northern Illinois Huskies and Rocky Lombardi to not only win, but to cover the 3 points. Go with the Huskies. Hey, nice try, Vegas. Won't happen to the calculator.
Yeah, and shout out to Hot Tub. He just put a comment out here. He said Northern Illinois. He's wondering who they are as well, calculator. So there you go, digging deep and getting us that Northern Illinois pick. Hot Tub Tony 77.
Yeah,
Appreciate the shout out.
That's right. Get your game started off right with a little, one of those behind the scenes type deal. So yeah, take your Huskies this week.
All right. Okay. Well, we hear you there, calculator. Man, the next matchup has something to do with West Virginia.
Oh yeah, and a team that we either bet on or against throughout the year. So that's why I feel pretty confident in this one. Yes, the Texas Tech Raiders. When I looked at this, I said, "Oh man, this opened this another line mover." Okay, so when I looked at this, it opened up at 4, and I said, "Oh man, that's kind of cool." But then it jumped to 6.5 within minutes after it opened up. So some of those sharp bettors out there were pounding Texas Tech, and I said, "Man, what's going on?" Well, news coming out of camp is that the original starting Texas Tech was actually down to their 3rd quarterback, believe it or not. So, but the original starter, the one that pretty much is a good 4-point extra in points. If you look at a spread came out, well, they said he could play. They didn't say he would play. They said he could play, and this jumped all the way to 7. Now it's settled down to -6.5. So yes, while I see a big improvement in Texas Tech offense, even if that quarterback plays, right? Quarterback's not going to play defense. And I think that's where we can take advantage of this overreaction in the market, right? I believe the West Virginia offense will be scoring enough to keep this game close. And even, hey, we have lots of outs when we get close to 6.5, 7 points in the point spread. There's a lot of what they call back doors available in that. In other words, Texas Tech has a nice double-digit 11, 10-point lead, and then they play in that pre-V defense. West Virginia has a potent enough offense to get down the field quickly, score one of those garbage touchdowns, and keep it under the number. So, yes, take the Road Dogs on this one, and you're getting 6.5 points. Oh, another caveat. I say wait a little bit because this could get – hey, I'm telling you, if they do announce that starting quarterback is playing, I'm almost sure this will jump up maybe to 7, 7.5, even 8 with that news that actually confirms if he's playing. Yes, even if he's confirmed not playing, I still don't see it going down that much. So yes, I say wait till the news comes out that he's playing, wait for that line to get to 7 and then or 7 or above and make your bet. But hey, regardless, as is, West Virginia, they're definitely going to be able to keep this close because of their offense, in my opinion, and I'm getting 6.5 points.
Okay. All right. Well, either way you take it. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
All right, calculator. There's another matchup coming up, and it's a humongous matchup.
Yes.
I mean, it's a huge matchup.
This will be on TV for you.
On TV, it's a major collision in the college game. So please speak on it.
Yes. UCLA at Oregon, 3:30 on your cable provider, I'm sure. Oregon is currently favored by 6, right? Hey, it's the wild west. And hey, even though I knew UCLA was good, which is why we picked them against Washington a few weeks ago, but what they really showed me is how good they were is when they had an outright win against Utah just 2 weeks ago. Hey, Oregon will play the type of game UCLA loves, which is fast-paced. Heck, the over-under is even at 70 points, if you can believe it. 7.5. It moves up as we're talking, right? So don't get me wrong. I believe Oregon wins the game. But again, just like I made the argument for the West Virginia game, UCLA can score bunches in points. And since this is, again, around that 6.5, 7 point, almost a touchdown, again, double-digit lead, play prevent defense, backdoor cover, a cover is a cover. We don't care how it is. So right now, these last 2 games, we don't care if we're on the wrong side of the win-loss. We want the points because we think both of them is going to be a close game. And hey, when the Pac-12 big boys play each other, there's always some excitement. So, but hey, I'm going to go with and can you believe Chip Kelly revenge game?
There you go. Another good factor.
Is Chip Kelly really revenge? Because he kind of left Oregon. So you could say this could be an Oregon revenge game, but I don't believe in that narrative. I believe that it's just going to be two good teams playing a high-paced game and going to be within 3, 4, 5 points even even if it's a last minute field goal, we're still on the right side of the number, win or loss. So yeah, give me UCLA, take the 6 points and see if Chip Kelly can keep the Bruins rolling.
Yes, sir. All right. UCLA +6. Hot Top Tony has something to say about it. Hot Tub Tony 77. He feel like Oregon gonna take it by 7. So we'll see.
Calculator. Yeah. Hey, that we'll be talking about next week then.
Yep. All right. Next matchup, calculator.
Oh, and I stated it 2 weeks ago on our last podcast. The Purdue Boilermakers are within a minute of being undefeated this year. They play hard, and I think they're a solid team. And we look at the Wisconsin on the other team. They came kind of back down to earth, losing to a very average Michigan State team last week. That game wasn't even as nearly as close as the score, in my opinion. Michigan State actually looked like the better team. They wound up winning as well throughout the game. So Purdue has one of the best passing combos in the league. And I actually see their quarterback O'Connell and wide receiver Jones playing on Sundays. And now, in recent times, they've shown a decent running attack. Just last week, piling up over 200 plus yards against Nebraska last week. And looking at Wisconsin, I don't see any Sunday players on that roster, which is rare for a team that produced the likes of the Wyatt brothers and other offensive linemen that make it to the NFL. This is one of the weaker Wisconsin team. This looks like one of your Barry Alvarez's Wisconsin teams.
Oh, you're going way back.
That's right. Trying to struggle to find an identity. Yes, Wisconsin's at home. They'll be playing jump around in the fourth quarter, but Purdue is simply just the better team. And I have them as a straight up win. But hey, if Vegas wants to give me points, I take the points all day long. Purdue, hey, I wouldn't fault people going on the money line and not having to play any VIG on this, right? So take the Purdue, take the 2.5 points, take it to the bank, folks. Purdue win this one's outright, but you're getting 2.5. I like the Boilermakers to keep it rolling.
All right. The Boilermakers are boiling hot. So stick with them. Stick with them. Calculator. We are on Blackjack TV.
Oh.
We thank the Jack for the simulcast. That's www.blackjacktv.net.
The Jack. Love it.
Yes. We appreciate the Jack. All right. The next matchup, Big 10.
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry, Big 12.
Big 12. Hey, they two contrasting conferences for sure. But hey, Texas, after a big win against Oklahoma 2 weeks ago, they suffered a real big letdown against an average Iowa State team at home, and where they rarely should have lost. Hey, if it was, they were fortunate that Iowa State missed yet another field goal and was able to leave with the W. But hey, with a relative small sample size of Texas on the road, get this, they've really only played one true away game because, you could say the Red River rivalries a neutral start, but they still, it's not nearly as bad as if you're really on the road. And guess what? 0-1 straight up and 0-1 against the spread because they did that against Texas Tech just 4 weeks ago. Hey, calculator was on the right side of the number on that game because that was on our show. On the other side, you have an Oklahoma State team that if it wasn't for poor play calling, they should have won that game against TCU. They dominated all 3 quarters with the exception of the fourth quarter, right? So they showed me something in that, even in a loss. And Oklahoma State is 5-0 against the spread as an underdog since the start of last season, which is the best cover percentage in the Big 12 over that span. On top of that, Oklahoma State is 10-1-1 against the spread in Big 12's play since the start of last season, which is also the best cover percentage in the Big 12 over that span. Oklahoma State is 16-4-1 against the spread in AP, going against AP ranked top 10, going back to 2018, and which pretty good to me, right? That's the best cover percentage in the Big 12 over that span as well. I mean, they're setting records in all these different categories. But hey, well, Texas got to have a trend, right? They got a trend in this. They're 1-5 against the spread on the road since the start of last season. With guess what? That's the worst percentage in the Big 12 over that span. Again, I think Oklahoma State can actually win this game outright. So I'm going with all these points. I'm getting points, Tyrone. If I think I can see a team that's actually could win straight up and I'm getting points, I'm going to take them. I'm going to gobble them up as much as they give me. So take the Cowboys, take the 6.5. I think Texas is still going to be kind of, one road game. They like I said, it's hard to find teams that other than Ohio State that play at home for the first 2 months of the season. But hey, I think they'll have a rude awakening when they have to go and play over at Oklahoma State. And again, I'm getting the team I think is going to win. But hey, I'm getting 6.5 points. And even if it's a close game, we got 6.5. I have a little
Still
cushion.
got it.
Yep, got it. Still got it.
All right. Man, Calculator, you are on a roll. And you know what's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready for it, Calculator?
Are the people ready? That's what the question is.
Well, let's see.
Big win! Epic win!
Oh, yeah.
Time for the jackpot.
And it's not going to be. We apologize for the people. We unfortunately unless you have the ESPN Plus subscription and can stream it, you're going to be looking around like you do for that Thursday night football game, trying to find out where this thing's televised. But you might have to do that little play-by-play, little box out there to if you want to watch this one. But hey, if it's a jackpot, I got to give it to the people because we always talk about. What is the calculator? He's a capitalist. And what does a capitalist do? That's right. We want people to make as much money as possible. So, hey, and we've been white hot on the jackpot pick. So, hey, let's hope we can keep it rolling, folks. Yes, we're going to the Boise State Broncos at the Air Force Falcons.
One of my teams, Calculator.
That's right. Air Force -3. Hey, triple option teams are tricky, especially if you're betting against them. But you know what? Boise State has shown me for the whole year, even if it's been a little uneven performance game to game. The one thing that has been consistent is their defense. They have speed, especially in their front seven, which can contain. You're not going to, again, the triple option, you don't stop it. You just try to contain it, right? So I think they can contain the Air Force Falcons run and attack. And get this. Ever since Boise State fired their offensive coordinator after week 4, after they were 2-2, very disappointing, they have handled play calling duties to former NFL coach Dirk Koetter. So if people don't remember, great offensive quarter, stint with the Falcons, stint with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, pre-Tom Brady, of course. But hey, when he's gotten the reins, he has opened up their running game, and they have had their running game over 300 yards per game. And if anybody knows, service academies are famous for having undersized linemen. So if you have a good running game, you can just try and wear those guys down because a lot of times little guys wear down. It's just a simple fact. All right. Boise State is the better team again, in my opinion, right? So yes, Air Force is at home. I think that in my pick, if I would have done it, I'd have done this game as a straight pick 'em. But hey, Vegas is giving points like candy, man. So I was like, hey, that's not very, very often. So I could get burned on taking all these points, but hey, I know again where I think the teams are even. I'm going to go with the team getting points. I'm getting the Boise State. I'm getting the 3 points. I'm getting the great coaching from former NFL coaches calling plays because you know what NFL coaches do more than college coaches? They study film, while they're eating because they love stuff like that. So he's going to find how to exploit the weakness from the Air Force. Another thing, Boise State's a longtime starter. He's entered the transfer portal. So I think that's got that freshman kind of playing a little more confident. He's not looking over his shoulder. shoulders, not worrying about making the big mistake. And has anybody seen him? Hey, if you cover those two running backs, that guy can run as well if he needs to. So yes, I think Boise State just wears down Air Force. And hey, I love Boise State plus 3 points, and that is why it's our jackpot for the week.
Bingo. Jackpot. All right. And you're getting the points there. Come on now. And remember, calculator.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And as you said earlier, calculator, white hot with the jackpot. So there it is for everybody.
Yeah. If people go and listen to our podcast, we're not lying to you. We lost our very first jackpot of the year, but then we've been perfect from here on out. And that's what we try to do for our people.
That's right. Try to help you win.
Yes, sir. All
right, calculator. The final college matchup for the week before we talk about the pros. Kansas State.
Oh, I ever since Kansas State took my lunch money when they beat Missouri in the second game of the year, I've been following this team like a shark when he has blood in the water, man, because I'm going to follow them jokers everywhere. Yes, after the TCU, Kansas State is actually at TCU, and TCU is another favored over that field goal, right? TCU was actually a 4th and 9 away from covering in overtime last week, so I'm still have a little sour taste in my mouth, even though I had to place a little action while I was on vacation last week and didn't feel good about it. I had to go and ride a little coasters to get that bad taste out of my mouth, right? So, but hey, after the TCU demolition of Oklahoma, they have been downright lucky to beat Kansas with Kansas's backup quarterback, and of course that miraculous come from behind victory against Oklahoma State. Because again, Oklahoma State better for 3 quarters of the game. Kansas State is actually 8-2-1 against top 10 opponents since 2015, which is the best cover percentage in the country, not just the Big 12, not in the country. Wow. Minimum of 10 games, of course, right? Kansas State has covered the spread in 4 straight games against this very team known as TCU, including outright wins in 2019 and 2020, they were an underdog of more than 3.5 points. Well, guess what? This is a 3.5 point spread, currently speaking. And hey, let's look at TCU's trend. TCU is 8-22-1 against the spread since 2016 as a home favorite. Guess what? Last week was just an example how they didn't cover in that. Well, guess what? That's the worst percentage in the country, minimum of 20 games. So, yes, I think it's a close game. I think I'm getting that extra 5 points, which kind of feels me, 3 points going to give me a push. But that 3.5, because that's one of those things where if you go into overtime, you still, you're feeling good. Of course, the calculator's lost 2 overtime games when he's had over 3 points. So, hey, it can happen the other way. But, hey, I like Kansas State. I like the type of defense they can play against TCU. TCU has looked downright bad against defenses not called Oklahoma, right? Or those other teams they beat up early in the season. They've looked human against last week. Oklahoma State. I think Kansas State has a defense on the same level as Oklahoma State. And you know what Kansas State can do? They have a running quarterback that can run. They have a great running game, a good stable of running backs. So I think they can put enough points on the board to make a run at Kansas State. So hey, I think that Kansas State. I'm saying it again. Calculator or 411 calculator thinks it's going to be another outright win. But if Vegas wants to give me the points, I'll take the points. Give me the Wildcats and give me 3.5. I like a little security. Everybody likes security blankets, don't they, Mr. 4-1? So if I'm going to get a little security, I'll definitely take it. So yes, but I also think we should take this at 3.5 now, right after this, right after you hear this podcast, because this very well could move down into the 3.25 range. So if you can get that hook, which a hook is a 0.5 point over a key number. So, hey, key number's 3. I'm getting the hook at 3.5. Take that 3.5 now while they're still offering it.
That's right. And there's a reason why that hook is there. You know, they do that for a reason, calculator.
Right. They try. And I said the Sharps might be waiting for it to go to 4, but I just don't see. So I think the Sharps already got their money in. So, because I think it is at 5 down to 3.5. So yeah, got to get at 3.5 now before it goes down to 3.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that wraps up our college matchups, calculator. And speaking of college, tune in Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the same thing that Air Force runs, triple option.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Triple option with Zach, Coy, and Orion. and Mr. 401 will be in the house. Sunday, 9:30 a.m. We will cover the college football from the week. They actually started last night with the Georgia State and Appalachian State, and there'll be games all week. So we will recap the college scene. So tune in Sunday, 9:30 a.m. for triple option.
Yeah, and Mr. 4-1, that's great information for people that want to get a start on what we will be talking about on CTL, because you always got to go through a recap before you can go to the next week, right?
Absolutely, all ties together, calculator.
Yep.
All right. Well, look, let's figure out this NFL now, and help this gentleman again. Help him figure out
He
how to
still
find
hadn't
these
found it,
Thursday
Mr.
night games.
4-1.
He's
Tell the
checking.
man.
He's been right there every week. You know,
You know, yeah.
he's been right there trying to figure this thing out, and I don't blame him. I mean, I know it's on Prime, right? But look what he's got to do, man. I think he's got some wires crossed in there or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess he just needs to take a couple steps back, and then come back to it. But he still has time. There's a game that's on tonight, so calculator. Here we go. Let's see what your Saints are going to do tonight.
Yes, and let me preface this. I put a little extra thought in this because sometimes people are wondering. I want to give them numbers on why they should go against the grain, so to speak. Because in order to win, I've said it before and I'll say it again. In order to win a pool, when you have 50 or more people, you have to zig when other people zag. It's just as simple as that. And this is a perfect game to do it. And the reason I say that is my line is I like anything where I can fade a team that's getting a bigger percentage of the thing, but Vegas says it's going to be a close game. Well, Vegas says this is within 2.5 points. It actually opened up as Arizona -1. So yes, Vegas does think Arizona is going to win. Well, guess what? It's within my threshold, and 26%, only 26% of the public is picking the Saints right now. So this is a time I'm going to take advantage of. If Vegas is saying it's going to be close, it should be close. Yes, Olave will be back for the Saints. But we don't. They're to the point where they can just it don't matter who they have at quarterback. They're pretty efficient in that type of thing. In that type of thing, Lattimore still iffy, but even if he's not there, Arizona doesn't have. Although DeAndre Hopkins is back, but they could be rusty a little early on. So that's what I'm counting on. I think the Saints can stop the running attack because Arizona's down to their third string running back, Eno Benjamin, and he didn't look that good against Seattle. So a lot of problems on both sides of the team. So I'm going to fade the public on this, and I'm going to take the team that's only favored by 26%, try to get an early lead. So I'm going to take the Saints on this one and advise our people to do so as well.
All right.
Okay. The next one, I'm going with Baltimore. I'm going with the favorite in this one. I think Baltimore is mad, angry. Cleveland Browns just look like they're almost giving up. They're waiting for Deshaun Watson to be instated. It looks like they're just playing out the string on this one. And when you have a mad Ravens team, they usually play. So I like the Ravens. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Carolina. No, I mean,
I like this pick.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know the Buccaneers faltered against Pittsburgh, but goodness gracious, Carolina's even more of a dumpster fire than that. So, yeah, it's bad when the team is calling for Sam Darnold to come back from an injury to help that team out. So, I think the Buccaneers, a mad Tom Brady is going to make quick work of Carolina. And a lot of people say, Falcons will probably cover against Seattle because it's Vegas. No love for the Falcons, but the Falcons where they win they are actually 6 for 6 against the spread. And guess what? Even if they're within the spread, I don't think they win straight up because the one thing that Atlanta lacks is a pass rush. Well, the weakness of Cincinnati is allowing sacks. Well, if you have a bad pass rush and you're not going to get to Joe Burrow show what he can do like he did against the Saints last week. If he has times, he can find Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and the Atlanta Falcons is down to their second string cornerback. And the guy, their main guy got hurt last week and he's still iffy on his private sports. So I like Cincinnati to at least win. Falcons could cover, but the Bengals win. Cowboys actually will annihilate Detroit. Yes, Detroit's coming off of a bye week, but that's just a mediocre offensive line. And one thing that Dallas can do, if you can sack Jalen Hurts, you can sack, Jared Goff. So that I think the Cowboys, and that's why I have a survivor too. That's not my type of survivor pick. If you're somehow still in survivor, first of all, congratulations.
Congrats.
You're in only 15% of the population are still in survivor pools, especially with the onslaught of upsets that happen. Do you know Vegas just on straight up money lines they profited over $10 million on the average sports book because of just all the upsets. It was a carnage last week of great proportions, but I don't, it could happen again, but I don't see it. But yeah, love Dallas Cowboys as your survivor 2 pick. Jacksonville Jaguars. Hey, here's another one. Jacksonville is actually favored by 3 points. Hey, if Vegas likes them and only 27% of the public likes them, I'm going to go fade the public. I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars because if you look at the underlying metrics, the Giants, I don't know how they win week after week, but they find a way. Well, guess what? I think their luck runs out having to travel to Jacksonville, having to play in that Florida humidity. And I think, especially with an early kickoff, I say early kickoff, the Giants are Eastern time too, but it's still going to be nice and warm in there. So yes, I like that. I like the Jacksonville Jaguars to pick up some room, gain some ground on the fade the public. Tennessee Titans, they own the Colts. Colts have shown a little bit better lately, and I was actually going to go with the Colts until Tennessee off of a bye, healthy Derrick Henry, good front seven. They can pressure statue quarterbacks known as Matt Ryan. So yes, I like the Tennessee Titans because I think their defense can win them this game with Derrick Henry and a couple of touchdowns from him. Green Bay Packers, they got to get off this night. I mean, they're playing Heineke. Okay, yes, you heard that right. That's all I gotta say is Heineke. Green Bay.
That's all you gotta say.
Yeah, that's all you gotta say. They have underperformed, but I'm sorry, the Washington Commanders are actually worse than the Jets and the Giants, in my honest opinion. Well, with their backup quarterback. So yes, go with the Packers in this one. They get off the snide. Here's another one. Denver favored by Vegas -1. When I say that's almost like a pick 'em, but hey, Russell Wilson walked wounded. However, their running game, their defense, I think they can contain the running game, which has been winning the games for the Jets. And this is typical Jets. Get people all fired up. I heard one Jets fan on a podcast. He was talking. He said, "Bring on Josh Allen and the Bills. I want the Bills now." I said, "Okay." I said, "Let's see how you do with Denver first before you start calling out but Josh Allen." Right. So yes, but I think the Broncos break Jets' hearts again. 30% fade in the public. 30% are going with the Broncos. Another game we can pick up. Raiders. This is number 3. If you don't have New England, if you don't have Dallas, here's a third. I try to get 3 survivor picks for you, right? Vegas Raiders coming off of a bye. Should have beat Kansas City if you watched that game, to be honest with you. So yes, I think the Raiders take care of business against a team. I'm sorry, Davis Mills, he's good at home. He's bad on the road. And guess what?
Yep.
They're on the road at the Raiders, and it's going to be Carr to Devontae Adams all day long. I don't see how Houston can stop it, so I take the Raiders in that one. Chargers, yeah, they signed a kicker that won't fall down every time he kicks the ball. So, and I think their defense will be enough to if Seattle couldn't capitalize on Arizona, I don't see them capitalizing on Khalil Mack and company on the Chargers. So I think the Chargers win that game. Kansas City Chiefs, this was surprising. Chiefs are only favored by 2 points. So Vegas thinks this is going to get a close game, but I think the Chiefs it looks like they're on a mission right now. So even they're going on the road against the 49ers, and the 49ers are supposed to have 8 starters back. They were actually missing 8 starters against the Falcons. Well, I'm sorry, 11 starters. 8 of them were really good starters, put it that way.
Right.
But they're supposed to be back. But I still that's not going to be enough to slow down Mahomes, Kelsey, MBS, Juju Smith-Schuster, CEH, you name it, the Chiefs are going to bring it out. And the Chiefs still have a surprising defense. I think this is going to be, and we mentioned it on the fantasy show earlier this week. This is a good game for Garoppolo to get, because when Garoppolo's in shootouts, he performs pretty well. However, I don't think it'll be enough. Be kind of like those Kansas City Chiefs getting that big lead on Tampa Bay, and then Garoppolo's going to try to do a Tom Brady impression and get all those points back. It'll be a high-scoring game, but Chiefs prevail. Miami Dolphins, this is mere fact that Tua's back. Waddle should be playing. Gesicki is showing life. You also have Tyreek Hill. There's nobody on the Steelers that can keep up with all those weapons. Miami Dolphins with a healthy Tua, they bring it home. I think they right the ship and they win the game. And my survivor, my number one pick, Zappy. This could be the new Tom Brady, right, Mr. 4-1? Mac Jones gonna be like Bledsoe when he busted his spleen against the Jets, and then Tom Brady comes in and doesn't lose any games, and then he's the quarterback for the next 15 years, leading them to multiple Super Bowls. But yes, Zappy. All he's gonna have to do in this team is hand the ball off. New England defense could score 2 touchdowns against Fields in this game. That's why this is my number one survivor pick. Use your Patriots if you haven't used them. They will demolish, because we know what Bill Belichick does to young quarterbacks and to inexperienced coaches, which the Bears have. And Bears are still trying to bring back the wing T. I've said it before. I say it again. I don't know what offense they're running, but it is not a NFL offense. And New England Patriots, they take away your best weapon. Well, what happens when you don't have any weapons? They just dominate the game, right? They don't need to take away anything from the Chicago Bears, because they really hadn't. Well, I guess you could say Montgomery's a weapon, but New England shows they can shut down the run when they want to. So yes, Patriots win big, and that's your number one survivor pick.
All right. The number one survivor pick is the Monday night game.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, that's great job, Calculator. We covered the NCAA games. We covered the NFL. And so, man, we're at the end right now.
Absolutely.
Any closing comments before we get out of here, Cal?
No, just, again, enjoy the games on this weekend, whether it's a friendly wager on a Saturday or an office pool on Sunday. Again, I try to help people out. I'm going to start giving percentages for the games I think people can, go against the public, because if you're in an office pool, you have to get that 1 or 2 to differentiate you from the group, right, to win the pool. We're not worried about second. We're not worried about third. We want people to win their pool. And so that's what the calculator is trying to do. That's why I'll give you the ones to fade. I'll look at the point spread. Hey, Vegas can help out when it comes to stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's why I want to go and like, again, I'll keep providing survivor picks as long as I can, but it's hard to believe like I said, I actually went out on my last entry, and I know another friend of mine was on his last entry last week, went out on Tampa Bay, and then he went out on San Francisco. So yeah, we were trying to, I told him save Tampa Bay for the next week. Well, that's why sometimes you can't look ahead, well, guess what? If you'd have chosen Tampa Bay like the calculator, he'd have been out as well. So, it's kind of, you never really can predict what's going to happen, because the main pick was the Rams. Well, in both those picks, we had already used the Rams in week 2, so the best pick wasn't available. That's the beauty about Survivor, is that sometimes you have to go away from it. So, after another discussion, we said probably should have went with the Philadelphia over Dallas, but again, calculator was wanting to say Philly for a game against like the Commanders or something like that, and it didn't work.
Yeah, well. We get close, man, and we do the best we can. And definitely appreciate you dropping the knowledge. I know it's a lot of time and effort put into this, so we definitely appreciate you, Calculator, for doing that.
Hey, but Mr. 4-1, it's a labor of love, so I do want to say that.
All right, I like that, labor of love. That has a nice little ring to it, Cal. Mm-hmm. All right, and we thank you all for watching and listening. We thank Hot Tub for being engaged today with us.
Oh, and yeah, Hot Tub, I expect to be talking to him next week. He's fading a calculator on UCLA, Oregon. That's going to give me a little. I'm going to have to order an extra box of nachos for that one, because now I'm all fired up. I love it when the public interacts like that, though. That's what makes this so fun.
Yeah, very good, very good. And how to do us a favor? Go on here on the YouTube. Put it in the comment section so we'll have it.
Absolutely.
We'll have it documented, and that way we'll have it. We'll reflect back on it. We'll watch it on Saturday, see how it all shakes out,
Yeah,
and come back next week.
if the calculator eats crow, he eats crow. You know, I'm a man that admits my mistakes, but right now things are pointing towards UCLA. Sorry, my friend.
All right. Okay. Well, calculator, I will see you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in next week for Crossing the Lines. Don't forget on this Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Tune in for Triple Option.
Triple Option.
Fantasy Football Show. That's me and you, Calculator, and Lacey. Catch us on the Fantasy Football Show Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch the Sports Brothers. That's Zach and Mr. 411. That will be Tuesday at 7 p.m. So there's a lot of programming there for you to catch, and you always can catch all the replays on YouTube. We thank you all for watching. We thank you all for listening. For the Calculator, I'm Mr. 411. We gone. Have a good one.
See you, everybody.